Hello and welcome to today's Dux-Soup webinar, which is all about LinkedIn automation for 2024, what to expect from Dux-Soup. I'm Adam Osman, the Head of Marketing, and with me, I'm pleased to say, is our founder, Will van der Sanden, and our fabulous Head of Professional Service, Giles Garnett. Just a few quick housekeeping points before we start. Everyone is on mute. If you have questions, please pop them in the question box in the GoToWebinar console. We'll also have a couple of polls running during the webinar so we can get a bit of engagement with you. We've left plenty of time for Q&A at the end, and I really would encourage you, this is your opportunity to talk directly to our founder Will, who drives the product development roadmap. So it's an opportunity for you to give feedback, suggestions, etc. As always, this webinar recording will be made available automatically after the webinar concludes. It normally takes around 4 or 5 hours for the processing to complete. Next slide, please. So if we think about the agenda for today, we have deliberately pitched this as a business-focused webinar, so it's not a really deep technical presentation. What we want to do is give you some insight into what you need to be thinking about when you're planning out your outreach this year. So if we look at the agenda, Giles will cover automation tricks for LinkedIn success. I'll spend a bit of time talking about LinkedIn and marketing trends this year, and then we'll finish up with what to expect, the exciting news that Dux-Soup will be presenting in 2024, and as I said, plenty of Q&A at the end. Next slide, please. So if we start thinking about, oh, sorry, it's Giles. I'm handing over to Giles.
That's all right, Adam. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, wherever you may be in the world. And hopefully, many of you already know me. My name is Giles. I'm Head of Professional Services here at Dux-Soup. It's only a couple of slides and brief bits from me today because I am, after all, just the warm-up act. The main event comes a little bit later. So a couple of tricks and tips for this coming year, and also looking back a little bit on the last 12 months as well. So if we look at lead gen trends for 23 and 24, the big thing we saw growing in 23 was AI, increased usage across many walks of life, including, of course, lead generation, whether that was creating content or copy, or even creating connection requests and outreach messages. We've also seen LinkedIn starting to incorporate some AI features on their platform, and more on that a little bit later, perhaps, and also in next webinar that we're doing in 2 weeks' time with Tracy Enos, excuse me. What's been noticeable though, as these methods of AI usage have become more widely used, is that people are identifying them more easily. So in what I see coming in 2024, we'll start to see the space maturing a bit. Usage will get more subtle maybe and less obvious. And we'll certainly see some developments going forward. And I think that both Adam and Will are going to be touching on that a bit later on in the presentation. So a couple of tips for you going forward to help you get the most out of LinkedIn and Dux-Soup. So before I do that, I'm going to try and be multitask and launch a poll. Now, there we go. Let's try. I've just hopefully launched a poll, and hopefully, if you could see that, I'm curious, which version of Dux-Soup are you using? We've got the Pro version, we've got the Turbo version, the Cloud version, or perhaps you're not a Dux-Soup user at the moment. If you could answer that, that would be fantastic. Hopefully that's popped up in the GoToWebinar console, and you can answer that. We'll see if that works in a second. It looks like there's some results coming in. That's brilliant, excellent. Thank you, people, for doing that. I'll leave that running for a bit and leave people to do that. And it's, yeah, not tried that one before, but multitasking does work apparently. So the most frequently asked questions I get on calls with users is, drum roll, I suspect most of you know it, how many connection requests I send and how many can I do? How can I do more? Well, it's actually quite simple. The more you do on LinkedIn and the more successful you are, the more you will be able to do. We're seeing LinkedIn very much clamp down on people who are running free LinkedIn accounts for commercial purposes. We're seeing that happening all the time. But what we need to do is think about how we can get the most out of the platform. So one of the things to focus on is your SSI, and your social selling index is one of the factors that will impact how much you can do on the platform. Not only that, and I'm going to stick that into the chat, the link, there we go, there's the link, hopefully everyone's got that. Really being challenged at multitasking today. So yeah, your SSI will increase your visibility on LinkedIn as well, because everything that you do, yeah, your SSI will be impacted. The higher SSI, the higher up search results you will come. So don't just think about sending connection requests. Think about all of the other things that you can do in LinkedIn. That's viewing profiles, commenting on posts, engaging with people. It's all part of the complete package of making sure that you are being a good LinkedIn citizen. How do I get back to the slides? Yep, oh yeah, it looks like there's a few people who've been able to poll, and what I will do now is I'm going to, yeah, we've got a yeah, we've closed the poll now, so hopefully you can get back to the slides. Right, so yeah, be as active as you possibly can be on LinkedIn. It will help you to be able to do more, and as I say, a paid LinkedIn account seems to be paying dividends as well at the moment. Another one, something that it's a theme that we've touched on quite a lot recently and is a forgotten art for many people who are on LinkedIn. You can use all of the paid versions, any of the 3 paid versions of Dux-Soup to simplify this process. So you can send a direct message using Pro or building a campaign using Turbo or Cloud. Nurture your existing network. Do not forget them. People change jobs, people move locations. Somebody who was maybe a new connection 3 years ago and wasn't maybe the perfect fit for your offering then may now be. So do make sure that people don't forget what you do. And finally, just to sort of blow our own trumpet a little bit, Dux-Soup Cloud, the convenience of 24/7 lead generation with Dux-Soup. This is launched in November last year. We've had a really positive reception. You have all of the campaigns, integrations, and LinkedIn lead gen activities running 24/7 when your computer's off, when you're away from the office. It's running on our infrastructure, so it's got additional security and stability, and there are some further developments to come in this area. So there's a little teaser there for you going forward. I'm going to now wrap up. That was my very short warm-up act. I'm going to hand over back to Adam, and yes, I will leave you in his capable hands.
Thanks, Giles. If you could go to the next slide, please. So what did we say at this point last year? I think I had 3 main suggestions around what people should be thinking about. The first point was all around being precise and targeted, which I think was right, particularly in light of LinkedIn changes that came in. Being prepared to adapt to change, I think again that was right. Changes on LinkedIn, but also the possibilities of doing things using AI, and always looking for incremental improvements. Again, I think 3 very solid recommendations for that we had at the start of last year. Next slide, please. One of the things we've noticed is that the rules of online lead generation are definitely changing and evolving. What we're seeing is that many channels, such as email, have become overused, so ROI is starting to diminish. But businesses still need to grow, right? So you need to evolve your approach and what you're doing. We're also seeing this continuing trend of buyer behavior and decision makers changing their behavior. It said, I think in the B2B world, something like 85% of the buying research and decision is done before anyone even reaches out to you. And even in business to consumer, it's still around 40 to 50%. Next slide, please. One of the things I picked up from HubSpot, and Giles, I think I'm going to leave the poll because I think a few people had some issues seeing the returning to the slide. So just the research I picked up from HubSpot is that over 90% of marketers are using multiple channels. And the reason this is important is that multi-channel marketing has been proven to be more effective and show greater ROI. Next slide, please. Another interesting fact I picked up whilst doing the research for the presentation is the absolute explosion in the number of MarTech solutions that are available. One publication that monitors this stuff says we're now over 11,000, so 11,038 different MarTech solutions. And if you're anything like me, you're getting at least 1 email a week with a new solution being pitched to you. And the reason for this, part of the reason for this growth is the number of new AI solutions, but also the number of companies and product developers who are bolting on some form of AI and almost relaunching their product as an AI technology. But with this growth in the number of solutions and perhaps the number of solutions that you're using, integration becomes really important to knit everything together so you've got a seamless workflow. So in our case, typically from a CRM system through your LinkedIn outreach solution, or ensuring that you've got integration through to your email system and social and content publication, etc. Next slide, please. So against this backdrop, what are the 3 key initiatives that people really need to think about for 2024? Next slide. I came across this great quote from one of the senior execs at Google. He talked about 2024 being basically the year of the possibilities that AI can deliver. So as marketers, we're typically all time poor. We're trying to do more with less resource. Our customer expectations are changing. The media landscape's changing. The MarTech landscape is fragmented and evolving. And we've still got to do our day job and deliver those successful business outcomes, typically generating leads for our business. So it's all about how you can leverage AI, I think, in your day-to-day work. Next slide, please. So the second trend is all around ensuring high quality of your content. So generative AI is brilliant for people who are stuck if they're thinking, how do I write this LinkedIn message? How do I tweak this this connection message? And it's a really good way of giving you a head start on getting your content out. But Gen AI actually makes it really easy for people to produce poor quality and low quality content. And I think this is going to be the year Google starts recognizing the quality, authenticity and personality behind content. So really would encourage people to focus on the higher quality content that is reflective of your personality, your voice and your brand. Next slide, please. And above all, I would really encourage people to maintain a focus on good marketing principles. So although the way we approach marketing will change and the tools might change, I think what I consider to be the foundational aspects, those building blocks of any marketing strategy and campaign, are going to remain the same. So focus on good things like being targeted, having tight filters, integration based off of your message across all your platforms and channels to market, but integration of the technology that I talked about. Ensure good quality content and communications, and don't forget LinkedIn. I think despite the fact there's declining ROI on a lot of other channels, LinkedIn should continue to be a very important part of your overall lead generation plan. And with that, I'd like to hand over to Will to talk you through what's coming up in the product this year.
Just before we do that a second, if I may just interject, if you've got questions for any of us, put them into the questions box, and if you could put our name as well as to who the question's for, so that we can do the Q&A at the end. So that's Giles, Will, or Adam. If you've got anything for any of us, then we'll take the opportunity after Will's done his bit, and yeah, hopefully we can answer all your questions as well as we go, because it's quite quiet on the questions front at the moment.
Cool. Thanks, Adam and Giles. Yeah, let's get started. What to expect from Dux-Soup in the coming year, or yeah, 2024. Next slide, please. Thank you. Before we look ahead on what the plan is for the or the high-level plan for the year, just a quick recap of the key themes or efforts really of the past year. We had a similar session last year where we were looking ahead as well, and those were the 3 key tracks that we had last year. And well, let's see how we did. So team functionality. That's functionality is really around team-based outreach. Critically, it's about making sure that your team members don't basically approach the same prospects using this very simple checkbox that will enable that in Dux-Soup, and that will give you the knowledge that your members will all approach different prospects. And the team functionality also included, because with team outreach also comes really a requirement for reporting. So we've also added a team funnel, and actually very recently also additional statistics that give the team admin a very good overview of all the activity that is being produced by or generated by the team, and the results of that activity. So that's all complete. Obviously, we'll be adding more functionality there, but that's the team functionality that we built last year. And then the other big one was the cloud deployment. That is also complete. So if you do have a cloud license, that's what it will look like in the dashboard. There is not a lot to see in the dashboard, and that's obviously intentional. It's supposed to take away a lot of the hand holding of your browser and making sure that your system is running by running all your activity from the cloud. So your computer can be switched off, and you can just see if the cloud is running by going to this little cloud icon on the dashboard. And one critical element of this as well is that with the Cloud Edition, we also bring the ability to seamlessly transition from the Turbo Edition to the Cloud Edition. So if you're already running Turbo, and if you decide, well, I want to try and upgrade the cloud, you can actually do this, and all your campaigns will keep running. Your campaigns will stay as they are. It will just basically switch over to be running from the cloud. So that's that's cloud deployment. There's more coming this year, obviously. We also had a track on campaign AI, which we've been working on, and we will continue working on that in this year. There's one slide about that coming up in a moment. Next slide, please. Multi-account support for Cloud Edition for agencies. So this is one of the key, one of the sort of requirements that we saw falling out really from the Cloud Edition. So what we're seeing is that digital and done-for-you agencies, they require the ability to easily manage all their clients' accounts from a single portal. And we will bring in this to Dux-Soup in Q1, all being well. So you will be able to add and remove LinkedIn accounts from your admin account, and this still will require you to have one Dux-Soup seat per LinkedIn account, but you will actually be able to manage all that from a single dashboard. You'll be able to switch between LinkedIn accounts, edit campaigns for each of those accounts, enroll profiles, as well as monitoring the funnel. And they will all be from a single dashboard. You'll also be able to report on the statistics and the funnel progress of the accounts, and export that data for easy reporting. And all this will be added to the Cloud Edition agency plan specifically. So if you're a done-for-you agency or digital agency and looking at running LinkedIn outreach, then definitely what you want to try this when it's available. Next slide, please. Customer lifecycle API, specifically for integration partners. As we see, and as Adam pointed out, email marketing is getting really difficult. It already was difficult, but it's getting more difficult. And more companies are either, they're mixing their outreach with multi-channel, and in the multi-channel, they will generally also want to include LinkedIn outreach. So what we've had quite a few inquiries of integration partners like sales automation and CRM platforms who are looking to include LinkedIn outreach. And for those kind of companies, we will be building an API that will in effect allow them to onboard and offboard their customers onto the Dux-Soup platform without the customer requiring any sort of installation or sign up. They will be able to push their LinkedIn sessions to the Dux-Soup platform, so that Dux-Soup can run these accounts on behalf of the clients, and also they'll be able to listen for session events to make the integration really robust and able to cope with correcting behavior when LinkedIn sessions, for example, end up closing. And so that's the customer lifecycle API for integration partners. Then the next slide. Triggers, conditions, and branching in campaigns. The current campaign editor in Dux-Soup is pretty basic and really only allows you to build a single track campaign that has a number of steps where there is some sort of logic or condition by waiting for a connection acceptance and also waiting for a response or triggering on a response. But there's no real richness in being able to differentiate your prospects based on specific attributes like company size or the geography, and also the ability to have time and date based triggers. So when a certain date is reached, for example, when you're organizing an event, to then start sending emails or invitations. So we're looking to have the capability of adding these different kinds of triggers that will allow you to trigger your automation based on these triggers, obviously, to be able to branch your campaigns and have different messaging based on attributes of your prospects or the companies they work for, and also being able to automatically switch the prospects between those campaigns or branches based on certain conditions, and all that should allow for a much more targeted and very sort of segmented sub campaigns that you can build. And generally speaking, by having more specific campaigns that cater more for the specific attributes of the audience, will yield a better response in our experience. So that's triggers, conditions, and branching in campaigns. Next slide, please. And here we have the AI angle or sort of track that we are looking at. Now, what we've seen in the last year, especially 2023, is that a lot of software products that are out there have been extended by a pretty basic and very not thought out AI capability. Very much, AI for the sake of AI kind of extension that does something sort of, I guess, cool in the demo, but far that really brings value to the customer is questionable. Now we obviously has been looking at AI and doing some experimentations, but we're really we're looking for this year is to bring or to use AI in LinkedIn outreach in a way that is going to save you time and money, and not just have some gimmicky AI integration. So we are very much thinking on different paths that I can't really go into very specifics right now. So expect some more details to come out later in the year. But do keep in mind that we're aiming to bring value and not a gimmick here. All right, thank you. Next slide, please. On to the questions.
It helps if I'm not on mute, doesn't it? Right, we've got a few questions coming in, so I'm going to try and rattle through them. And the ones I've not answered on the text is because I'm hopefully going to get them answered here and now. So both Brendan and Narcissus have asked, is there a direct integration coming for Salesforce.com CRM?
We have not got a Salesforce integration in the planning at the moment. We excuse me, we did a sort of survey last year, or actually 2022, on different CRMs, and we really didn't see much of interest in in Salesforce integration. So we might have to revisit that if it turns out that with the way that the product develops, we end up targeting different audiences that have different sort of IT landscape. But at the moment, that is not in the planning. But maybe there will be a friendly third party that is able to build that instead.
Yeah, I mean, just for anybody who's on here, then yeah, I've just put into the chat box there the link where you can upvote feature requests. Yeah, if there's enough traffic, of course, if there's enough demand, then that would, of course, help to influence any future developments, which is, of course, what drove the cloud development in the first place. A question from Simon. I have a new cloud license, but want to make a lot of integration work going forwards. When you state integration partners, is that a separate thing? Do I need separate licenses?
No, there won't be a requirement for a separate license. My expectation is that this this particular feature will become part of the well, at least initially, and looking at it of the agency plan, because agency plan, that's our plan that has got a metered billing behind it. So as customers are being added and removed, there will then be easily and automatically invoiced accordingly. But no, the API will be available to anyone on the agency license. There will be no specific third-party sort of versions of Dux-Soup.
Yeah, cool. One from David Cugini. Question for Will. What would it take to get an API endpoint to access Dux points to do an email lookup on demand based on, say, the LinkedIn ID or URL?
Well, for us, the email lookup is really just a nice to have that we don't really see as a central part of the platform. So it's not an area that we really looking in to extend much in developing. So at the moment, we don't really have any plans in that. There is, as it is, you can already, if you have the URL, trigger lookups with the API and use the webhooks to receive the result of this of the lookup. So there is already something in place that I think would probably do 80% of what you're looking for. So yeah, so at the moment we don't have any plans to develop that.
Okay. A question from Yorick. I saw there were some new stats added, number of responses, for example, that you can compare with the previous period. Are these all the responses people send that are in the campaign?
So we did add the statistics to the funnel and also the team funnel. And what you're looking at the responses is really if you select a campaign, then it's all the responses that were received as part of a campaign. If you specify all campaigns, then it's basically all the responses that were received from the moment this person was enrolled into a campaign.
Yep. Okay. And a question from David, which I think I'll probably answer. I've experimented with uploading a list of LinkedIn URLs, profile URLs, I was already connected with and had a conversation with one of them. Then they got my flow. Is there a way to skip URLs with which I already have first level connections? Yeah, you just need to create a filtered list, and whether that's you extract that using the scan function of Dux-Soup and build a custom list so you can take out the people you're already connected with. It's all about filtering and building good quality lists to achieve that. I think that's right, isn't it, Will? That's probably the most succinct way of answering that.
No, it's true. To have a good list that is important, but I think what David, I think it was, is talking about is where you have where you use the enroll from file feature.
Uploading a list of LinkedIn profile URLs.
And well, at the moment, when you add those, the thing is that if you have as soon as Dux-Soup actions any sort of activity of your campaign, then it will basically check if it's a first degree or not. And if you don't have any messages after your connection acceptance, for example, then there won't be any messages sent to that particular person. I know that's a very clumsy workaround, and so as part of the campaign updates, we're also basically making it easier to have these branchings where you can specify the behavior of the campaigns for specific or for first degree and for second or third degree connections. So the short answer, I guess, to the question is no. You can't automatically filter those, but there are some workarounds that you can do to I think to achieve the behavior that you're looking for.
Cool. And somebody asked, and I've lost it now because I answered the wrong question with the wrong answer. Oh well. Somebody asked, so when will the when are you expecting to sort of look at the branched campaign developments? Is that something that we're looking at imminently? Is that do we have any idea on the timescales on that?
Well, the timescales. So the first priority for us is the agency multi-seat dashboard. That's the first priority. We are already looking in parallel are developing an update of the campaign editor. And we are most likely going to roll that out where people can opt in to try this new campaign editor, and that's where you will, I think, going to find this sort of feature in the Q2, I think. But there will be, as part of the experimental editor that we're going to be releasing, the full sort of the full release of that sort of behavior and update will be more likely in Q3. But in Q2, I think we'll have something already that you can try and provide feedback as well.
Cool. Question from Floyd: are there APIs for other CRMs other than Salesforce and Pipedrive? Well, actually, Floyd, we've got direct integrations with HubSpot, Pipedrive, and SharpSpring. And then we've got integrations as well with Make and Zapier, providing that intermediary if you want to link to another platform such as Salesforce or Zoho or whatever beyond that at the moment. Well, several people asking for Salesforce as a connector. Jefferson has asked, I have a team with 5 workers separately. What's the best plan for us?
If you have a team with 5, well, basically, if you have a fixed amount of team, or well, not super fixed, but basically a determined amount of team members that you want to have licenses for, then a team license will be the most beneficial, well, especially the annual one. But even the monthly one has a reduced rate compared to the agency license when you get seats as part of your team license. So a team license will be the most logical, even if you don't use the team campaigns. But then, that also will give you the access to the team, the user admin, meaning allowing you to remove users from your license, and it also gives you access to the team stats, so you can have an easy reporting on the team activity.
Okay, I'm just going to flick down here. Jeroen has asked, I read an article about the importance of removing connection requests on your websites. However, I couldn't find the option to do so. I'm using turbo version. Am I missing something, or has this been disabled?
No, that is not disabled. If you're using the turbo version, then you will need to enable the expert UI for that. So we, I think somewhere halfway last year, made an expert UI and a regular UI of both Turbo and Pro, with a view that, well, too many features will confuse people. And this particular feature is in the expert bucket. So if you enable expert UI and then go to the actions tab and options, you'll see the cancellation option. But having said that, the auto cancellation will actually be enabled. The default, I think, is 3 weeks for the invites to be cancelled.
Yeah. Okay. Simon, I'm a single user but want to make use of integrations. I'd like to say that it's disappointing and likely a blocker for me. Simon, you can use the integrations if you're a Turbo or Cloud user. You don't have to you can be an individual user and make use of the integrations. Absolutely. It's just purely you need at least the Turbo version in order to have access to that that functionality. Let's see what else we've got. There's some comments here about SSI. Yeah, so Gavin, if you to sustain an SSI over 70, you need to make use of searches, post regularly, and converse in comments. Let's have a look. Ryan, don't know if this is the right place to ask, but I've been unable to access Dux-Soup for the last couple of weeks, even after reinstalling. Brian, please email our support team on the email address that I'm putting in the response now, and they will jump on that straight away, because if you can't access it, you can't use it. So there we go. Please do that straight away, and we'll get you up and running as quickly as possible. Rachel, can you again also email the support team with your question? Obviously some issue there with responses not being picked up, perhaps. Yeah, that's most of the questions as far as I can see for now. There's a few comments there around wanting more information on AI, and of course, as soon as we get more information on the AI developments, we will share that in due course. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Oh, there was, where's Felipe? Did I mention Felipe? Filippo, he wants to ask questions on Taplio Dux parallel, so I pointed Filippo in the direction of the support team, where hopefully we can get a bit more detail around what he's on about there, what he's requesting there. I'm not that familiar with the platform you're referring to there. Oh, there's one more question from Brian before we go. Will you add a bulk unenroll for unsent connection requests for a campaign?
A bulk unenroll for unsent. Well, I mean, yes, there will be a bulk unenroll, full stop. I mean, besides the sort of the main headline development tracks, we're obviously still doing smaller updates or smaller or medium-sized updates to the product in terms of the dash and the extension. And yeah, one of them is definitely making it easier to well, just select multiple profiles in the in your funnel and to remove them from a particular campaign. So yeah, functionality like that is something that will definitely be rolling out over the course of the year. And for that sort of feature request, it's best to use our feedback request. What's it called again, Charles? The
feedback.dux-soup.com. It's in the chat. It's there posted for everybody to use.
Yeah. But just to reiterate, the apart from the development that I'm outlining in these well, 3 or 4 bullet points, there is still a lot of development happening as well.
Yeah, we never stand still. Things are always changing. We're always looking to refine and improve things, of course. Question from Tom: are there interactive training videos of the new capabilities? We're updating all of our blog posts and videos on a regular basis as things change and evolve. Sometimes there's a little bit of a ripple effect as we catch up, but we're looking at trying to provide as much interactive demonstrations and videos on our YouTube channel as possible. So yeah, you should be able to find all of that through the usual channels. On that note, I think we'll call the questions done there, and I will hand over to Adam, who I hope is still there.
No, it looks like he's not now.
Is Adam still
I'm here.
there? Ah, there he is. There's a voice.
So our next webinar is coming up in a couple of weeks. We have very popular returning guest host Tracy Enos, who is coming back to talk to us about AI. Funny enough, that's a topic that obviously came up a few times today. For anyone who doesn't know, Tracy is, I think, one of the best LinkedIn marketing experts we've come across. She's a member of the LinkedIn advisory team, and she's going to help people to really understand how you can put AI to good use, starting with looking at when and how to use AI on your LinkedIn profile, looking at what AI generation tools she recommends. The topic of prompts is going to be covered, to how to use prompts to generate the best content, and how to engage with your network using AI and Dux-Soup. So I'm really interested in hearing what she's got to say, because I think it comes back to this robust application of good use cases is where I think AI is really going to add value. So on Tuesday the 6th, please do join us. The registration link is always on the banner at the top of our website, and we hope to see as many of you soon. Final points. We have a number of Dux-Soup caps. We continue to get some really fantastic reviews from people who are using and getting a lot of good value from Dux-Soup. If you can, leave us a review. The link to the G2 website is, I think, being posted into the chat. It's also on the slide, which will be made available. Please do take a moment just to share your honest review. We're interested in all feedback. Had some really positive regular comments that come out about the value that people are getting from using Dux-Soup. Next slide, please. And then just a reminder for anyone who needs a bit of additional support, you can always talk to our fantastic support team. We regularly get 5-star feedback from people who engage with our support team. You can book a free 15-minute support call, or if you need a bit more time and you want to speak to one of our experts, you can book one of our booster or technical sessions. So there is a small charge for that. So the idea of these really is to help people with very specific issues and questions that they want to get support with. And again, we get really good feedback from our users who've made use of this service. And you can book all of those additional support channels via our website, duxsoup.com / services, and feel free to reach out to one of our team that way. I think that's it. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. I hope you got a lot of use out of the questions in particular that were posed to Will at the end. And we hope to see you on another webinar soon.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.